fucking idiot. Welcome, everyone. So we're doing another video. We're going to be reacting to... I've been planning this. So further emphasize, I'm not crowbat, whatever. I was already doing... Like, I even talked about I do... Go watch my other videos. I'm not an alt account. But anyways, we got our best friend here, Codes. Go watch our Resident Evil Village Let's Play, Best Friends Play. You guys will love it. But, so to break down what's been happening. So Crowbar's been getting... heat because of this video he just released. He's criticizing the Resident Evil remake or reimagining, sorry, my apologies. And one of the claims on Twitter was saying that he tampered with the audio to make it sound worse on purpose by lowering the decibels. I made a video disproving that exact thing, and people are already losing nuts and going stuff yada yada, and that's what it is. But right now, so when we're listening, the audio, it's exactly near 1-to-1 what you would likely listen to. I've disproved this already. If anything, it's 2 decibels louder than what it originally would be at a home theater setup on a PlayStation. Let that, you know, be fine. But now we're gonna have Codes help co-create along with chat with our opinions on this.
He is crowbcat.
Resident Evil 4. Instead of like just wind blowing like fades in. Nah, that's weak.
By the way, I should mention you guys that Codes is not a Resident Evil player in any way, shape, or form. So he is truly unbiased. Now we look at the next scene.
Legpeg. Hands down the OG.
Obviously the one where you can actually hear, you know, the wind blowing.
Really? You actually like that one more? Interesting.
Well, it makes sense. You're by a bunch of windmills. Yeah, by the ocean, you would expect to hear wind howling.
Oh, a fair point. Okay, I guess we'll give 2 points then for the OG and the reimagining as we established in the video that I will edit in here later. Now we're going to the next part. Here's the original freezer. Codes, which one do you like better?
Original, just because you can hear like the hum of the machines going.
Oh, you actually... Are you solely focused on the audio? Audio game?
Well, that was like the biggest issue, right? Like, oh, the audio, But also, I like the newer graphics, updated graphics. Sure, looks better. But I like the old sound design.
You know, okay, so here's what I personally... Okay, so you focus your sound whore, I will be aesthetic. I like the aesthetic of the original more because I feel like there's just a lot more things going on in visibility. And look at how terrifying this is. Like, for me personally, like, you just look at... You already faced the Regenerator, right? And then you see... And you're like, fuck, one of these bastards is gonna pop up, isn't he? Like, you just fucking know it. In here, it's kind of like... Another problem is, like, I can't see shit. This game has the Resident Evil 6 problem. That's something I'm gonna go into. I will also do a video specifically talking about maybe it was built around ray tracing, so I might give the reimagining a bit of leeway if it was designed around ray tracing. But then we go into the whole argument of like ray tracing's pointless, and I absolutely kind of agree on that one. So in this case, you know, for the audio, right, I actually don't recall even hearing the beepity boops of the machinery. This one is a bit more open, but I like the intrusion in the middle, personally. Also, it made it really good when you moved around, but let's not stick around too much. This one is very clear which one I like more.
Okay, what? Dude, why would they downgrade it so much?
Let that sink in, you guys. Yeah, no. This isn't bad. I think it's very good for like a spooky, but the problem is it just doesn't fit this. Like, it just doesn't. And here's my problem. For how many candles you have, why the fuck is this room so dark? I don't think this is bad. I just think it makes no sense.
You know what I think about the games? And it's a interesting way to
did they do?
So, the remake imagining, like if they said like, oh, this is like a sort of like takes place after the original, because it looks just more worn down than the old one. Like, does it not?
No, I agree. And something that I want to make out is that like, I don't know. I'll get into it when I get into the part of it. Like the audio. This is one thing I want to talk to you guys about that he specifically points out. It's not even this, and that. Like this, the audio is just more iconic in the original. It just really is, and so is the iconography. Like, look at the clear water, and also we're in a castle. Would it not make sense that there is upkeep? And even though they're ganados, oh, they're zombies, right? But it's been established that they still maintain a lot of the human functions and everything. We see them tending to the animals, this and that. What makes you think they would neglect the castle? Also, it's a fucking castle.
Plus, like the audio just like builds the atmosphere. Like, what's it do? Nothing. The other one
also, when someone says
on edge.
This isn't realistic, bro. For those of you who haven't traveled, I'm in the windy city, bro. When the wind actually blows, if it's creaking, no, it's fucking. This is exactly how it sounds like. Anyone who's been around the Midwest or anywhere like this where there's like a cave pattern or bro, you hear the wind, bro.
Dude, went for a hike in the woods, right? Wind blowing.
This is too quiet. Like, it is good audio. I'm not gonna cap. When you do hear it, it's not bad. I do like the subtlety, as I mentioned before. I feel they just do it too much. And in one of the comments that Crowbar mentions, someone said like, oh, it is good audio, but it's like everything else is just louder. So the real problem is the audio tuning, not so much the audio. I think the direction is a different story. You got to realize that's what we got to separate.
You know what it is? The audio is better. It's a lot cleaner, but the other one like was a bit louder, more distorted, which like helped a bit.
Dude, I don't even recall hearing thunder. That's something that I noticed right away with the original. I don't even recall the thunder. Also, you guys remember in the original I had the song that built the shit out of the atmosphere in this. Nothing in the reimagining. Like, I like that noise though, that little ding. I want to mention, I really like that a lot, but it's too quiet when you're like, and notice how remember in the beginning it's quiet, so you're like, oh, you let it, but then when you get up to the building, when there's villagers, ahí está, and then you hear the music. That tone that would have been nice when you heard ahí está. There is an art to building tension, believe it or not, like a subjective way of building it. And I'm gonna be honest, this game had very little to just weak build up, honestly. It really did. Subjectively, not in my opinion, subjectively. And that's what I want to differentiate. Where's the opinion and the subjective? I think they're both fine. But here's my thing. What about the visuals? Well, here's the thing. We'll go back to the visuals. This is the visual of this. This is too cluttered. This is too cluttered, in my opinion. You can get a much clearer view. And by the way, Resident Evil 4 established how this is something you cannot make your character too big. Like games like Arkham have established this. Even Gears of War. Well, Gears of War didn't do. And then look at the size of Leon and then everything else, right? That's Leon. He's too big. He is actually too big. Just a little bit, not too much.
How is it? Is it just like an FOV kind of thing, or is it
partially, because Leon. And here's the thing I should mention: my FOV is maxed out on PS4. And that's the thing. My FOV is maxed out on PS4, but here's the thing: most people will experience it that way. You have to realize I will talk of the majority, not the minority. And
so people are just gonna go like default FOV, default everything.
And the other thing is, when I maxed out the FOV, it's too whack. Everything's too far, bro, and it just looks fucking weird. It looks stretched out. So I have a PS5, so like fuck off with that shitty argument. And it's like, I don't know, like it feels like this is something I will talk about. There's just sometimes I don't know. There's just too much crap. And it doesn't feel as artistic. Another thing I'll mention, I feel there's just more art to the original. Like I like the dead trees. Like I think that's a great fucking touch. Absolutely. But I think the trees being alive, I think they're both, it's whatever, right? The trees is subjective as fuck. So here's the original. I like everything from here, and I even like the shadow casting, but the problem is it feels like it's being darker than it needs to be. Like, there's clearly no clouds, so there should be more sunlight. Like, it's too dark. It's dark for the sake of just being dark. That's my problem. I think this image would be a lot better if you just didn't over-exaggerate the fucking shadows, bro. That's my problem with this image. Codes, your thoughts?
One more time.
See?
Yeah, I think you were right. Like, I think they kind of built this with, like, ray tracing in mind.
Right, like, see, and that's the thing, we'll make a comparison if that's the ray tracing, you guys. And look at how iconic the symbol is. Like, look at that. And another thing is, for game direction, you need it to be very clear where you're going. This makes it clear, this is my main goal. So what does everybody go? Automatically goes to that door, right? In their reimagining, it's kind of like, you just see it as any other building, and you don't get it, oh, okay, whatever. But the only reason I know is because, this one I absolutely agree. Like, this is iconic, and I have to, you know what? I'm sorry, the original is just better. I won't even say anything.
Like that. Yeah, cause this is the most memorable place from Resident 4, so they tried too hard.
Not bad. Okay, so I'll say the beginning, good, right? But then you guys realize immediately why I like the original more.
I think I've seen a scene. Didn't they do something with the chainsaw guy?
Yeah, he's about to say. Do you realize why the original is better, Codes? Do you see what the problem is?
Oh, they follow him, shaky cam, all that goodness. There's just kind of a cut to him looking out the window.
You also notice that there's no interaction or any talk between the villagers?
The other one feels like intense, like fast paced, like, oh, what's gonna happen? Oh, here, like, oh, he's gonna look out the window now.
Why are these people?
Papi. And you know what's crazy? That established the intelligence. Like, it was a great way to establish how the zombies were in here. Like, I liked it. It was very vivid.
It barely shows the danger that Leon is in. It seems so calm.
And someone can argue, like, say, play devil's advocate. The old could be really suspenseful. Yes, they can be, but like, there's a way to do it, and I don't think that scene itself was the way to do it. At the beginning, I think for sure. Then after that, like the beginning, like, I think was fine. But I think I agree with Codes. The cut really intensifies it. Look in paso, like, you know. And remember, this is your first time actually being able to hear them. See, it's all a direction. Like, we're only on Leon. This is a directorial style, right? So this is the camera. They're focused on Leon. That's fine. There's a time to have that. But in this moment, it's great to show as many. And also look at the cut to the, like, they're talking. You're super focused. Like, wait, they can talk, this and that. They're communicating, right? Because remember, you first enter the village. You just know, okay, maybe they're spreading lines, right? Even though you don't speak Spanish. But in here, you're like, oh, shit, they can fucking communicate. You're like, what's happening, Leon? Why can they communicate? Then you just hear this shit. Like, it just blindsides you. Planning. And then decorating. And then... You know, just sudden, it just like, oh,
and
fuck.
And the enemies look lesser than in the OG.
Right, like, just... And then look at that. That was, okay, see, now they really fucked up. I felt something was off, like, he's just there, like, when you cut, like, you see the zombie, and then you just cut, like, it's just so abrupt, like, it's a genuine jump scare. And and you start hearing the rev way before he does it, like, yeah. That's bad. There's too much buildup. There's a perfect number. Check out a video by GameSpot talking about how to do horror. It's a great video that explains how Dead Space actually mastered the timing of horror. I'll link it below so you guys can check it out. That, objectively, not in my opinion, objectively was worse.
You can actually count the zombies in the reimagining.
Well, that was because of the limitation of the hardware. So I can defend that. I see what they're saying here, right? I don't like this. Like, that's too cluttered. I agree with that. That's too cluttered. Like, see, here's the original. So one thing I'm going to mention, I'm not going to say too much. I felt the reimagining it felt too boxed in and way too cluttered. And even like how Cody says, like, you know, like, and then everything's dark. It's just fine. It's hard. Low-key, I've played the original and I've gotten kind of lost in the reimagining. Let that sink in. Then not in the maze level. See, like this.
And it's not like they're hardware locked, like it's a PS5 or, you know, next gen console crap, right?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
You know, more clutter with higher detail.
Like,
so there's no reason to like.
And look, it has a great atmosphere. I like this clear signal, the church in the background, iconic. And that's why I will give the reimagining more crap. You have no excuse. It's way easier to develop for.
Finish the review.
No, we're still working. Actually, we're doing a video right now.
The church is like very foreboding in the original, right? It's just always looming in the background. Yep. Like here, you can barely ever see it. So like, oh, I don't care about it. I can't even see it.
Damn! Look at Cody bring a great point. Actually, I think this one's okay. I think this is fine in my opinion. This is fine actually. I think, you know what? I can give a dub to the reimagining on it. See, look, you just made your point.
Like Peg.
Original stands out.
Both are okay.
Like, right? Like this one. You know what? I'll give it to the reimagining. See, so I'm not just being biased. That one's okay. I'm gonna cover this later. Why? Okay, I'll say this much. Like, this is okay. Like, that's when you go down the entrance. I will cover that in my video, further explaining why I would get lost.
Like Peg.
The big cheese.
What? Yeah.
All right, how are they gonna run this game?
This guy. Who are you? Okay, stop right there.
Thoughts?
I think they both work.
I agree. I think they both work. But also something I noticed about the original that the new one doesn't have is look at I like the spanning of the action. Like, you can tell, like, that's where the action direction is, right? Like, look how and the sound design. Like the slow-mo. There's no slow-mo in the new one.
They kind of like size them up in the new one.
And like, this is okay.
No, they don't really size them up like they did in the first one. Or original, not first one.
I'll talk about Ramirez. That's a different point. But I think this still does work. I think the situation isn't bad, and even how he does it.
Like I said, it's not bad. They're both good in different ways.
Right. Yeah. So let that sink in. They're just differences. I agree. They're both equally good in their own merit. But I wanted to talk about the direction and see, like, it's very consistent throughout the OG. See, you see Ada, and then
Oh boy, do I see Ada.
And then look at the motion blur. Nice motion blur effect. And then here's the reimagining.
Rock MEA. Og is better.
Okay.
So far, what did you think, Codes?
Well,
then wait.
first one was better just because, like,
And then,
yeah,
like,
just more
nah!
action, more movement.
Like, come on. You're like, dude, that jump out the window was great. Come on,
Dude,
dude.
like, I thought he was gonna, like, charge out the window again.
Too dark inside.
Oh, no, the darkness in that scene was fine, because you're mostly just supposed to focus
I agree
on
with
him.
this as well. Like, oh, look at all the dead bodies. I'd be like, oh my god, what the fuck? Okay, that's too dark. And then I saw this. I thought this was okay. But it doesn't hit because you're like, oh, it's just animals, whatever, right? They got rid of this thing. I'm not going to touch it. People are saying so. I thought that line was great. Guess there's no sex discrimination here. And then he says, better find her fast. I agree. That's something the reimagining also doesn't have. Like, I like that. It establishes that, oh, they don't give a fuck if you're a chick. Like, I have to find her, right? Sets really a precedent. Just completely gone. It's been theorized that something about, you know, woke, whatever. That's a bit of a reach. I'm not going to say it's that. Maybe they just got rid of it. Like, I don't know them. Unless I talk to the director in Japanese, I'm not going to make baseless assumptions, unlike some people.
Yeah, no, I don't feel like it was that.
Right?
Because then they would have done, like, a lot more than just, like, a few things here and there.
Right, exactly. Wait, what was this one? Yeah, we already covered the church. I think this is fine, actually. This seems fine.
Is it the same director?
Hell no, not even, dude. Well,
yeah, so they're gonna have different styles anyway.
But that's why he established it's a reimagining. But that's a different discussion, right? Here's the original lake. This is okay. I like the original way more, personally. I think it fits it. The audio's not bad here, actually. I'll give it the water audio's good. The wind audio's in is good. Your thoughts, guys?
Yeah, I like the remake imagining.
Why are you gonna keep calling it that?
I am.
Lake Peg. I like how the OG shows the lake more.
No.
Right, I agree.
Supposed to be like a spooky, eerie, calm lake, so like I get it.
Right. And that's what the reimagining's going for. I feel like it. My whole thing with the audio, like I'll get to it, is I feel that it does it too much. There are times where it needs to bump it. I mean, the original had it down to a T. This one, I will talk.
Rock MEA. Ineste AA.
Pretty good, right? We agree. Pretty good build up, everything. I'll give it this one. This is an upgrade. He has no fucking head. I'm like, god damn. That's a point for the reimagining. But the rest, I'll let you guys. Leanne saying fuck doesn't bother me. So anyone wants to get booty hurt about that, fuck off. I'd say fuck too. That is a downgrade. Am I not wrong, you guys? Was the build up and suspense way better than the original?
A big frog.
Codes, your thoughts?
Oh yeah, no, there's way more build up. No. Like I said, I like them both.
Build up was a downgrade, but I like how it shows the monster more in the remake reimagining.
Really interesting.
Yeah.
I feel like, no, there's a golden rule. There's a guy that made said you don't show
both.
your monster too early. That's actually a rule of horror. I don't know how I feel about it, but whatever. The original was way better. This one? Okay, classic. Don't shoot the lake. I hate that it turns into a cutscene. I feel that ruins it, but the problem is it's too sudden. Like, look, you see the shape? You know? See, like, that's the cut ruins it in my opinion, but it's still okay. Original's better. Guys, thoughts?
I like the fact that they actually show him like getting eaten
instead of just a cutscene.
and then it fading out when the thing goes back in.
The song's way better on this. That's cap. This is what I want to talk about, so I guess I don't have to make the argument that there are times where the audio is just... The reimagining just lacks iconic music. And there's a great video about this. It does good stuff with its score, but go watch another video if I can find it about how... It talks about how Final Fantasy 15's music... It does it as an example, like when you overcomplicate your music... Like, why old school musics are more iconic and better than new ones. It's like, because when you start adding more orchestral stuff, you start to drown out. There's no pattern, you know, you know, like, everybody knows that's Mario. But the reimagining is like, what do you really hear? But Resident Evil, I start saying, dun, 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 dun. You all already know what song I'm fucking thinking, bro. Like, come on. And same with the save music. You know, and that's something that reimagining 100% lacks. That's not even an opinion. Dun, dun, dun.
So why do you think they did that?
Because they're
Was it
bitches.
just for the fact that like, people are like sound whoring more than they used to, so now they're like, okay, if we make it a bit more subtle, they can pick up on all the other crap happening in the back.
I have no idea. But you agree. I will say I like the homage. I'll give them the typewriter. I like the homage and it's nice. Like I said, the problem is the mixing. I think the true problem when it comes to is the mixing. I think I like the reinterpretation of the saved music. I saw. I was like, oh, it's nice. I like it. There are times when they do reimagine the music, and you know what? I think they did a fine job. And it's usually with the icon, like the song of the original was so iconic, and then they spice it up. Street Fighter V had this thing, and you know what? I'll say this much: I don't mind when they spruce it up. The problem with, at least it is in Street Fighter V, where it drowned it out so much with orchestra that you don't even recognize the original. Like, good example, Guile's theme is classic, and then you switch over to one of the songs. Like, if you hear the stage version, it's too much like dun, 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 dun. Like they drown out the iconic parts. You know, they're making the orchestra drown out the icon. Whereas in here, dun, 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 it's a unique take, but it is the theme, but it is too quiet. Dun, 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 dun.
Rock MEA.
The problem is just the mixing.
They should have removed the chapters.
Really? Oh, whatever. That's your opinion, man. I respect it. So in here, I'd say I like the original, obviously, because it's iconic. But objectively, I think they're equal. The problem is just we've established the audio mixing is the problem. So I don't want to say, oh, it's too quiet. It's just the audio mixing is the problem. That's been established. Capcom needs to kind of mix their audio better.